Welcome to the most comprehensive, up-to-date Facebook and Instagram ads course on YouTube. I don't know about you, but every time I try and learn about Facebook ads on YouTube, the videos that I watched are far too technical. They don't get to the point. They don't teach the theory. They just have a screen recording showing you something that you don't understand. In this course, I'm going to do both. I'm going to have a screen recording of me going through exactly how to press the buttons. But before each part, I'm also going to give you the theory from a marketing perspective. I've been running ads for the last 7 years. First it was to fill my gym up with members, then it was my online coaching program, then it was my B2B agency. Now it's to help hundreds of clients, service-based businesses, coaches, consultants, agency owners to run their own ads. And in this course, we're going to talk about meta ads that are working right now. We're going to talk about how to choose the right objective for your business. We're going to talk about how to structure the ad to make sure it suits what you need, when to pause, wait, or scale the ads, what CPM means, CTR, CPA, CPBC, what all these things mean, but also how to write compliant, effective ad copy, how to pick the right creative, whether that's reel, B-roll, images, all of that stuff is explained in black and white, simple terms for you to enjoy. The only thing I ask is you go through this course, take it bite-sized chunks, go and implement, and go and make money for your business through Facebook and Instagram ads. Let's go. Okay, let's do this. Let's go. So, Facebook and Instagram ads course, Meta Andromeda update. So this course is designed to take you from running your first ads all the way through to managing and scaling campaigns with confidence. The aim is not to teach every feature inside Ads Manager. The aim, really simply, is to help you understand how ads actually behave, how to make sensible decisions, and how to avoid the common mistakes that people make. Now, one thing to be very, very clear on here, there is a lot of tutorials and videos out there on YouTube, logging into the Ads Manager, showing you how to do things. I will be doing that as well, but you have to understand the theory. If you want to be a good marketer, if you want to know like how to make money forever using Facebook and Instagram ads, then you have to understand how they work, okay? And a lot of people watching this will not listen and they won't go through this process because it's involving learning. And that's not me being, aiming it at anyone. It's just the fact that these days we want dopamine, we want things done yesterday. We want to learn very, very short snippets. We don't want to learn the whole process. And that's why I'm able to deliver this course, is because I've spent years learning how to run them. The next part, by the way, is actually spending your own money to find out. The great thing I love about ads is that no one ever becomes an expert forever because it's ever-changing landscape. And the way that you end up teaching people ads or running their ads is just that you've been able to test more than them. That's it. Like, I've got clients who run ads and stuff. They're my client because I spend more money and I learn quicker and faster than them. And then I'll pay someone who's spending way more money than me, way more experience than me, and that's how it works. So that's the thing I love is, well, you never quite crack it, and that's business. That's the whole message around business. So, okay, I'll try and use some, yeah, that's not going to work. Let me just close that tab. Move my head out of the way here. There we go. Okay, so let's get in. So how to use this course. If there's one thing you're going to take from this part is do not let it gather internet dust. Okay, like a million other things that you've downloaded and opted in for, don't let it gather internet dust. Do this course every day for the next 5-6 days and you will complete it and you will be very, very efficient, proficient with Ads Manager and Meta ads, honestly. So if you're new to ads, work through this in order, obviously. If you already run ads, you can skip to the sections that you feel confident with, but later parts assume you understand the foundation, but the later parts understand that. And I would argue that most people should just pay attention to this. Unless you're a seasoned, ads manager, you've run ads for a long, long time, then of course skip. But I'm going to be teaching you some stuff that's really, really up to date, so it might be worth actually knowing it, or at least getting a reminder on it before we go any further. So focus on understanding why decisions are made, not just where to click. And for every section here, I'm going to show you a slight kind of image that kind of summarizes it. I'm very visual, so I like to show things. So the Ads Manager hierarchy is what we're going to show you about campaigns, ad sets, ads. Building a sustainable ads foundation. So we move into that where we're talking about business manager, ad account, connecting Facebook and Instagram accounts. Most people fail here and they end up what happening is they don't set up a stable foundation to run ads from. Before you know it, their account gets banned and they start to hate ads. Next is choosing the right setup. So awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, like which one suits your business and your objective to obviously make money. Then we're going to talk about the Andromeda structure, the new Andromeda approach that Meta have done that is tripping a lot of advertisers up. And then why ads underperform. Like I said, the Andromeda structure laid out fully, including the desired outcomes, the problems, an explanation of how it works. I'm going to show you the way that I've set my current ads up through the Andromeda structure. And then managing ads over time, reading the data, when to adjust, common mistakes, and when to scale it. So this is what we're going to cover here. Each one will have its own image to represent it. Let's do this. So day one, foundations. Now I've structured this in days so that you can just do it day by day, do half an hour, 20 minutes each day, but you can just go all in the one viewing. My recommendation right now would be to set up a doc as I'm covering this, have me on one screen, have a doc in the other, and just go to town. So how Facebook and Instagram ads actually work. Facebook and Instagram ads are built on an auction system. You're literally auctioning for your piece of content to get shown on a page. That's it. You're betting, almost betting, but it's auctioning. You're not buying leads or sales directly. You're competing for attention inside a marketplace where multiple advertisers want access to the same people. That is it. It's quite literally the equivalent of the online version of this. You stand at a cart boot sale with your item, holding up your item, or holding up a leaflet and saying, grab this. Where it gets, interesting is that the more money you have, the more you can raise your hand up, for example. That's not the best example, but my point is that it's literally like an auction, and maybe you pay more money for your car. Let's say it's a car boot sale. You pay more money to be the very front where the customers walk in. That's what it's like. Pay less, you'll be away at the very back of the car park. That's what it's like, okay? Just an online version of that. So Meta's job, quite simply, right, is to keep users on the platform. It's to show content and ads people are likely to engage with. Please remember this. People say, oh, ads don't work, this and that. Why do you think Meta, Facebook and Instagram is free? Why do you think it's free? Because they make their money from a lot of other things, but it's predominantly from ads, advertising. That's a huge part of it, is advertising. So, of course, it's in their interest to go, okay, you're paying us money, we're going to show you. Who do you think Meta favours? People who don't pay them money, or people who pay them money? It's a no-brainer, right? And their job is to show content and ads to people who are likely to engage with those ads. The other job is to make sure advertisers get enough results to keep spending. So people think that Meta's out to get them. It's like, well, they would rather you win, because if you win, then you're going to keep spending more and you're going to keep coming back. Makes total sense, right? So ads that people interact with are rewarded with more delivery and lower costs. Ads that get that people ignore become more expensive or they stop delivering. Like Meta really tracks it right down to the wire. And if your ad, even right down to the user experience, if your ad made a user click off that ad and click off Facebook, they don't like it. In fact, they'll penalise it. And that's where it stops getting clicks, and that's where it starts getting really expensive, and that's when it stops delivering and you have to cut that ad. Meta want you to win, and they want people to be glued to their phones all day on the platform, because if they're glued to their phone, it means they're going to see more ads, and they're going to eventually buy more, which in turn completes the loop of here's the ad, pay us money, they see the ad, they buy from it, and that's the loop. Okay, it's the circle of Meta life. So let's talk about the structure of an ad account. Every ad account has 3 levels. The campaign level, and I'm going to go in and show you what it looks like inside Meta, but it has a campaign, which is essentially just the main campaign telling Meta what the overall goal is. What do you want to happen, right? The ad set, this is where you tell Meta who you want to reach and under what conditions. So this is the what, this is the who. You're going to say to Meta, I want to reach these people this way, right? And then the ad is just, as it seems, just the creative that people actually see. That's it. So most problems come from misunderstanding how these 3 levels work together. if you want to learn anything about ads, you need to understand how these three levels work. Because when we go into the ads manager, it looks complicated and stuff and confusing, but actually it's just, okay, Meta's going to say, like, what do you want to happen here? Then I go, like, right, okay, I know what you want to happen. Who do you want it to go to? Okay, now I know that who you want it to go to. What do you want to show them? That's it. And then we move on to objectives and optimization. So when you choose an objective, you're telling Meta what type of outcome you optimize for. So let's say it's traffic. That's one of the settings. Traffic optimizes for people who click. Leads optimize for people who just submit forms. And sales optimizes for people who are likely to purchase. Now, there's a slight caveat to that, because purchase doesn't just mean buy a service. It could mean purchase a thing with their credit card there and then. So there's slight nuances to that and how that works. For the majority of coaches, they're going to run lead ads. Leads will be the best thing for you. Now, it may sound like you want sales, but that goes more suited towards e-com and these other types of things. Again, every business is different. But for most coaches, agencies, consultants, you're going to be running ads for leads. And sometimes traffic for top of funnel stuff. So Meta becomes better at delivering whatever you ask it to optimize for. This is why objective choice matters more than most people realize. And it's funny, when you go into Ads Manager, when you see their version of it, you almost just think, yeah, that sounds right. Like traffic, I'll get hundreds of people to my stuff. But what you need to look at is a layer deeper, where it's like, yeah, you'll get hundreds of people, but Meta follows those people's behaviors, and these people just click things. That's all they do. That's their behaviors. Meta tracks them all around the internet. So they actually just click things. Do you want somebody who clicks something? No. You want people who submit information, and that's where leads comes in. Okay. The learning phase. Now, this is a very, very spoken about topic in part that you'll meet, and you'll be unsure what to do with it, right? When you're running ads and it's like 7 days later and you see learning phase, right? And you see a little amber light. And the learning phase is simply just Meta collecting data. During this period, costs can fluctuate overnight, results can be inconsistent, and performance should not be judged emotionally. If I was to say one thing that I've learned about helping people run ads and running ads for them, is the one thing that stops them from growing is their emotions get the better of them when it comes to ads. So many campaigns fail because they're changed or turned off before enough data is collected. So think about it like this, right? Meta has all your ads. They're sending it out to people to try and figure out who likes it and who wants to see it. It tries a subsection of people. It tries a bunch of people and goes, let's try it with them. And it goes, oh, just spent £100. Didn't work with any of them. Okay, let's go over here. This little subsection. Oh, it's starting to work with them. Before you know it, it's like, £5 cost per lead, or it's £10 cost per lead. When it was 25, it inflated to over there. And it's trying to find these sections of people until it can get you the best people that do the thing that you want it to do. And what happens is, when these fluctuations happen, Meta advertisers and coaches and stuff, they panic and start to wonder what to do. And there is a time and place where it might not get out the learning phase, and that could be the reason for that. It could be the way you've set it up here, and that's, you're maybe just not giving Meta a chance, right? So here's why most beginners struggle, right? The most common issues are they run too many campaigns at once. A lot of people, like when they're just starting to run ads, because they go into ads and learn about it, it's like, oh, I've got £20 a day I want to spend. Do you know what? I'm going to run £5 traffic ads to get followers. I'm going to run £5 lead ads, and I'm going to run £5 purchase or sales ads. That sounds like the perfect formula, doesn't it? And they run too many campaigns at once, and Meta just can't learn what you want as an advertiser and as a business. They split audiences far too small. So this is a thing that used to happen in the past. I think advertisers still do it because they're not really shifting and learning Andromeda. But they go, no, I want females at this age who like these things, and that's all the only people that I want to reach. And Meta nowadays is actually much smarter at finding those people without you having to then limit an audience. They use very few creatives. Like, so many people out there, they film 2 ads and they think that's going to be enough. And as I go into covering the Andromeda section, like, you need to think about, if I had 6 people who learn differently, observe content differently, click on things differently. Let's say these 6 people were red, the colour red. And then you have 6 pieces of creative. And I'll go and explain this more in depth, but just very quickly. Let's say you have 6. And they're all different colours. One's red, blue, green, yellow. these people who are represent red, the way that they click and learn, they're only ever going to click on that red ad. And if you've only got a blue and a red out, they're never going to click on the blue. So you want to give as many options as possible, because what can now happen is the yellow people can come over and go, oh, I like yellow type of ads. And then the blue and the green and all these types of, and then can you see how it can, like, people learn differently. They want to click on things differently. I might click on a reel because I like watching stuff and learning that way. You might click on a carousel and a text-based image, a tweet style ad, for example. So anyway, my point is that one of the reasons that beginners struggle, and even people who are intermediate, is they just don't create enough creative. They don't put enough out there because it's hard work. And they make changes every day. Like, Meta has no chance to learn if you keep making changes. And then lastly is you should expect results immediately. Do you know what's funny about ads, right? Because you have to pay for it, you have a certain different expectation with it. And I know businesses who have been posting organic content for like 8 years and they're only making a certain amount of money. And it's like, how come you never challenged free content? And challenged by that never got you results immediately? Because it's free. But it's not free, is it? Because you're spending all your time creating it, doing it, even paying for videographers and all that sort of stuff. So how come you're never putting that organic content under that pressure? But as soon as you spend £20 a day on ads, you're like, oh, why am I not getting results immediately? And the reality is, when you're a beginner running ads on Meta, like, it will take time for Meta to understand who you are. It will take time for your messaging to cut through. And a lot of the time you're just not good at it yet. And it's going to take time. So a simple setup that is left alone long enough usually performs better than a complicated one that is constantly adjusted. I have been there, trust me. I have done all the like fancy setups and this sounds amazing, and it honestly just never works. Complexity fails, simplicity scales. So just keep it simple, and then you can add 1 or 2 layers as you go that might do it. Another example of this is like running ads to test and get data. Once you get data, you might realize that you're getting a lot of low quality leads, but you're getting data for angles. Maybe a certain angle that you're taking, that angle is working, but the lead isn't great, the leads aren't great. Okay, let's put up some barriers for these people to opt in. And that's when you can learn. Okay, day 1 done. We are on to day 2, setup and essentials. And the thing here is just building a stable ads foundation. So to run ads properly, you need a campaign, like I mentioned, an ad set, who and the rules, and then the ad, what they see. So this is where the creative lives. I'm going to show you this inside Ads Manager. Then, of course, they buy for whatever. They go to an opt-in page, a video, or they use their credit card, right? So running multiple accounts does not make you safer. It usually creates more problems, is the big idea here. So to run ads properly, you need 1 business manager, 1 ad account, 1 connected Facebook page, a connected Instagram account, and a working paying method. You cannot go any further until you've got this all locked in and sorted. And there will be a million videos on YouTube for this, where you're like, how to create a Meta business manager, how to create, an ad account. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, very quickly to interrupt the video. If you want ads taken off your hands for your business, we can do it. The M&R agency is my business, and we help coaches, consultants, and agency owners who are around about 10k to 50k per month. We'll do the ads for you. If you want to learn, we can keep teaching you, but we'll also run them for you. And you might not need to have us forever. We'll go in, we'll build out the campaigns end to end, do every single part of it, from the creative, the copy, the structure, the VSL, the automations, everything to do with running your ads and your structure to make you money. Of course, while we're doing it, you can learn from us if eventually you want to hand it off to a team member or you want to run them yourself. But we've got spaces for a few clients right now where we can come in, and within sort of 7 days, we'll have your full acquisition system set up for you to get 10 to 20 clients per month from the campaigns that we run and manage. All you have to do, head to the description, you'll see the link in there, and book a call. So if you're extremely new to you've never done advertising before, then obviously you want to set up a business account and an ad account. The best way, honestly, to do it is to go to facebook.com/business and then follow it through there. And you can come into the help section, and then you can see here, create a business portfolio and Meta Business Suite. Honestly, just follow this process. Like, it will just take you to business portfolio permissions. You can see it here. Go to business in the desktop browser. Don't use mobile. You'll also use this address to log into Meta Business Suite. Create an account, log into your personal Facebook account, click create account to sign up for one, and then enter your details. Just follow these steps here and this is much better than I can explain it. This is just Meta explaining it. Another bonus tip is come to your Facebook page, open up this bit here, make sure it's on your actual page, and then just go to settings, and then settings. And in here you can obviously go in, and what we want to do is like make sure your account's nice and safe and secure. So there's going to be some sections down here. You can see password and security. Click that. You can see a couple of different accounts here. Password and security. You want to make sure two-factor authentication is on, right? So you click on it. You can see here I'll have a few accounts. You want to make sure you click on the proper page. You know, it makes your Facebook and your Instagram, your main Facebook and your main Instagram. Then you go through and set up the two-factor authentication. This basically just means that someone can't log in without you approving it through either your text message or email. And please, please, please never ever respond to emails from Meta. They usually are mostly a scam. Your Instagram messages from Meta are a scam. The only time Facebook will contact you is if it's in-app notification and it's genuinely Facebook, but never really click on them ever. Facebook will phone you if it's really that important. But we want to make sure two-factor authentication is turned on. And then coming back here, we want to look at like your actual ad account and make sure that everything's set up properly. So the best way I've found to just to get Ads Manager is go to adsmanager.facebook.com, and then when you come in, you want to go to settings again, and then billing. And in here, this is when you want to add out obviously a payment card. So you can see here, add payment card. Make sure you've got a payment card. Make sure this bit up here is actually, you can see I've got a good few ad accounts here. Make sure it's your proper one, and then set up your payment card. Okay, there will be an instance as well where there's a certain limit on it. So if you notice anything where, in fact, I'll actually just click on this one. This will open it up a little bit more cleaner. You can see there's an £80 balance here, and yeah, you can like come in and just set a limit and stuff like that. Sometimes there's a spending limit on it, and you want to control this, so you can set it. Sometimes there's an automated limit that caps it at a certain amount. You don't want that, so make sure it just keeps charging. Because you're going to be in control of the campaigns anyway. So that is the billing and payments. The next thing we want to look at is the actual settings and stuff like that. So billing and payments. Then we want to look at the actual ad account itself. So if I go to account overview, and again, when you're doing this, you should only have one, but because I'm an advertiser, I have quite a lot of things open. And these settings here can be quite like confusing and stuff like that. So I'm going to come into all tools, and then I'm going to go to, scroll where I'm at. Yeah, let's go back into settings a sec. Just let that load. So you want to come into pages, and this is where you want to make sure you've got a page that's associated with your Meta account. I'm imagining you do have, but just wanted to show you just in case. You go to add, and then just make sure there's one here that you're able to use. You come to add account. And just make sure you've got an ad account. If you don't want to run ads from your personal account. You always want to make sure it's obviously an ad account. So you just come over here, create an ad account, or maybe add an existing one. And that's how you can add. Okay, now we move on to tracking. Tracking in 2026. What does that look like? Well, tracking is not perfect, and it never will be. What matters most is the pixel is installed, core events are set up, and data is flowing consistently, right? You don't need perfect attribution to run profitable ads. You do need enough signal to make sensible decisions, right? So what to focus on earlier at the beginning: prioritize a clean setup, one objective, one clear structure, simple audiences. Most long-term issues come from rushing this stage, okay? So let me have a bit more of a deep dive into this. When it comes to tracking, like there is really good softwares out now that will track the person all over the internet and stuff, but the truth is you can't get an absolute 100% view on it. Some people click on an ad and then a day later they fill in your application form that's in your bio that's organic. Honestly, one of the best ways is just ask people when they sign up, but actually settle for a long answer. Don't just settle for, yeah, I heard about you, or I saw an ad. Like, ask them what that ad was. And then you'll be able to go back and look at your ads and go, right, that one actually worked. I just didn't get attribution for it. And it just makes it far more sensible. Honestly, like, we sometimes have businesses that we work with who are like, yeah, guys, I've only had 5 signups from the ads this month. And I'm like, well, it shows here that you've had 10. It's like, yeah, those 5 came from organic and Instagram and my podcast, whatever else. It's like, well, we've got them here on your CRM tracked as clicking on the ad. You know, and it's not like us against them, but it's just that sometimes we just don't give ad the credit it deserves. And there is ways now that you can add strict rules where if they've watched over 10% of a video, 20% or whatever, and then don't click on the ad, but they click on it within 24 hours, the ad will attribute towards it as well. But really, it's not about competing against each other. It's about just putting the attribution and tracking towards it so that you can just scale it, right? And tracking always was one of my weaknesses, but we want to, nowadays, when you've got like somewhere like Go High Level where you just track the person, you put in the ID. I'm not going to cover it too much as a whole other ball game, this. But really, you just have to set up your pixel when you're setting up your account, and it's ideal. Nowadays as well, with conversion API and stuff like that, it's a lot easier. Again, you know, there's much more videos covering this in depth, and it's so easy once you can just get into your accounts. Plus, people use Kartra, Go High Level, ClickFunnels. They use all these different things, so it'd be impossible for me to cover it on this. Just know the theory here behind tracking. Okay, moving on to day 3. Campaign objectives and targeting, right? So choosing the right setup, this is how it looks here from this perspective. Awareness, used to maximize reach and visibility. Traffic, used to drive clicks, often poor for sales. Engagement is used to build warm audiences. Leads, a strong starting point for many service businesses, right? Okay. Choose objectives based on what you want Meta to learn. So most often you will start here because you want most bang for your buck and most value for your money, don't you? So here's the campaign objectives explained. Awareness. This is used to maximize reach and visibility. By the way, I'm going to show you this in the Ads Manager in a minute, but just giving you the lowdown on it. I want to give you my definition of it as well. Traffic. This is used to drive clicks, often poor for sales. Engagement, this is used to build warm audiences, so that you can use this for, like, you know, running ad engagement for your videos and stuff to get warm people who watch it all the way through. You know, then you can retarget those people because they've clearly watched your video, which means they're interested if they've watched 80% of your video. And then we can run ads to that warm audience, for example, much higher rate, chance of them converting. Then we have leads, which is, for me, the strong point for many service-based businesses, online businesses. And then sales, best used when you already have a proof in volume. So let's say you get people who are really, really highly engaged. They've opted in for things. These people would be good to stack an audience list, and then, you know, try and run sales-specific ads at those people, purchase now type thing. So you want to choose objectives based on what you want Meta to learn. So let's take a deep dive into showing you these different settings. Okay, so I want to show you the different campaign objectives. So if we come in here, we're in Ads Manager, obviously, adsmanager.facebook.com. Make sure you've got your correct account set up, and then just go to create. And this is where you're obviously choosing the campaign, the way that you obviously want to run it. So you can see here awareness, like I said, and I've shown already. We can see show your ads to people that are most likely to remember them. Traffic is send people to a destination such as your website, Instagram profile, or Facebook event. Engagement is get more messages and purchases through messaging, video views, interactions, page likes, or event responses. Leads is collect leads for your business or your brand. App promotion, find new people to install your app and continue using it. And then sales, find people are likely to purchase your product or services. And it says good for down the side here. Like I said, for the majority of service-based businesses, you're going to use leads unless you sell products and stuff. App promotion could be useful, but for the majority, I would stick here. Again, when you think of like reading these out, when it says send people to a destination like your Instagram profile, it sounds tempting, but bear in mind the behavior of these people typically aren't that they do anything, they just go there and look. So you've got to think about that and consider that when you're doing it. So these are the different campaigns. Whenever you click on them and go to continue, that will then dictate what you see on the ad set level, depending on, you know, the specific objective. So you come down here. Obviously, whatever you do here, I recommend you name it. So let's say it's a, you know, January campaign, and I would put the price, the amount that you're going to run it at. Maybe it's £25 per day, and I would just go leads, for example, and maybe you just know that you're going to target the UK 35 plus, and it just helps you see it at a glance what you've done. Sometimes I also like to just add the date that it goes live, so I'll be like the 21st, for example. Just whatever you want to see at a glance. And then you come down here and you can see sort of campaign budget, ad set budget. For the majority, you're going to use campaign budget, and this will, so that automatically distributes the budget to the best opportunities across your campaign, also known as Advantage Plus campaign. When you use ad set budget, this sets different bid strategies or budget schedules for each ad set. Okay, so the majority are going to use this. Then you're going to put your budget in here. Coming down, obviously, you don't really need to touch that for the majority of people. Then you come to the ad set level. Now, this is where we look at who we're going to target. So let's say, for example, I was targeting people in the UK or people in Glasgow, in an 8-mile radius because I'm trying to find people for a gym. Let's say they are between the ages of 25, 45, and they are female, for example, and it's broad. I'm not going to target specifically. So I'll just put that in so I can see it at a glance. And then we need to choose the conversion location. So am I going to use instant forms here, which I'll show you what they are in a minute, or am I going to send them to a website for a funnel? What am I going to do? For the majority of people, you're going to be instant forms and websites. You're not going to send people to Messenger and Instagram. You could, but there's not a lot of people that justify that, to be honest, and the tracking isn't amazing here. Again, that's a whole other video. But let's say it's instant forms, and you want to select your Facebook page, make sure it's the correct one. And we're going to go for maximum number of conversions. So what that means is we'll try to show your ads to people most likely to convert after sharing their contact information with you. And then this is where the data set comes in. This is where it used to be called the pixel. So you want to create a data set. So this is where you just create your own. And this will help you with the tracking. So you can track these people. For instant forms, it's not going to matter too much. But if you look here, this helps you keep track of activity your business cares about so you can better target audiences. And you just follow that process. Again, I know it maybe feel like I'm being a little bit vague with this, but you can watch a 2-minute video that shows you exactly how to do this for your situation. You can just type it in for your business, other than making this video too long. But you'll set that up and you'll just select your particular pixel that you're using, okay? And then we have cost per result goal. You're not going to touch that. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on this, that people touch it, some don't. You're not going to bother too much, especially with instant forms. Value rules, again, you can create a rule set here where you can just tell people, them, look, this is what I want to happen. I don't want people in this age bracket. I don't want you to use any budget within this age bracket. So decrease the bid strategy by 99%, for example. Now, this is kind of setting hard rules for the placements. I've not really, depending on how experienced you are and how much you're spending, it probably won't be advisable for you. But if you're spending a lot and been doing this a long time, you probably want to set some value rules up. And then we come to catalog, which you can select it here. You can see here information. Use a catalog to promote your inventory. Honestly, for majority of service-based businesses, especially in online, you're not going to use that. And then budget and schedule, you can obviously just set the start date. I just leave this alone because I'm looking to launch it straight away. If you want to launch it for the next day, just do that. And then now we have audiences here. So you can use save audiences that you've got. You can come down to controls. You can look at locations. So let's say, for example, I wanted to target people in, I'm trying to think of a city centre postcode, 56. Let's see this. In fact, let me just go to Morris Park, where I used to have the gym. Yeah, so let's say it's Coventry. I never had the gym there, but let's just say it's picked that up. So let's say, if you've got the exact postcode of your location, your facility, your workplace, whatever, you just put that in. And then I can change it to here to 8 kilometres if people are willing to travel for that. And then I'm covering people in this vicinity. And that's pretty much it. Your ads are going to go to these people. Now you can see here, show more controls. This is where you can change the minimum age. I think it's 25. Yep, is the minimum. So maybe you help people 19 plus or 25 plus, so you'd select that. Languages, you can come in here and just select the language. You might want to go English all. And yeah, I appreciate I'm skipping over the location based stuff. Again, it's just dependent on your business. It's not that hard. And then you've got suggestion audiences here where you can include custom audiences and things like that. For the majority of advertisers, I told you should stop doing too much of this. But let's say you wanted to look at your detailed targeting here. Let's say, for example, I wanted to get people who are interested in strength training. I'd click that. It's an interest of people. I'd select it. And I can stack these on top of each other. And we want to keep an eye on this audience definition over here. Remember what I said though, like Meta's probably going to be better at finding these people for you. And then you want to look, maybe it's people who are interested in physical fitness, those types of things. Maybe you're looking for consultants, small businesses. So once their job title is a consultant, maybe they're in marketing. And once you select one, it's going to start suggesting some as well. Okay. But honestly, I would keep this broad if you're a beginner, and then just give it some like age rules, and then add transparency. Usually that will just pop up. And then placement. So this is where you decide where it's going to go, and they're quite sneaky here, the way they try and like get you to use all their placements. But if you come in here, it says all, and then the platforms. For majority, I just turn audience network off, and I only ever have Facebook and Instagram. Might be different for you. You can see here it's still it's trying to get me to do all these types of things, right? And be sneaky. Allow limited spend to excluded. I would uncheck that. You see how it's doing things automatically now, and by the time you watch this, your screen might look different. So, and then look how quick, easy it wants you to put it all back on. So now we come down here, and this is the actual ad itself. So this is what they see. So you come down and you see that. Make sure your Instagram account and Facebook page is connected. And then remember, we have to make an instant form. So I've already got a form here, all these ready. But let's say I was to create one. You just name the form and just follow it down section by section. And the good thing is it shows you over on the right-hand side here. Let's go for more volume. We look at being flexible from delivery. So I'd turn that off or turn it on, and it tells you exactly what it's trying to do here. So let's go optimized. Then we go intro. So like, what should it say? Our offer is here. You would just put your big offer in there, and then you would explain it. This one-time offer is live, for example, right? And then you can add new things like trust signals and stuff, which will be good if you want to add that. Add in some headlines and things like that, and just follow it through. Then you can go to questions, and this is where you can sort of just look for like multiple choice, conditional logic. And if anybody answers the question like wrong or they're not a fit, then you can disqualify them. But you can see here, if we just ask like a short answer, are you ready to take control of your health and fitness, for example? And then it comes down, and then we go to privacy policy, where you'll just put in your privacy policy. You can go to Google and just type in, get me a, generate a privacy policy for my business, fill it in, and then put the link in here. And then the ending, you can decide where you're going to send these people. So maybe you want to send them straight to your WhatsApp, or you want to go to a website. Maybe you want to get them to book a call. Thanks. Next step, book a call. You want to get them to book a call and just explain why they should book a call, and put it here. So this is like an added bonus, okay? And then you would just create form. And then you come down here, each section, you'll see, you want to make sure nothing's selected on, because it has a habit of just randomly putting things on. So I'm going to upload an image. If I just find one of these, go all the way through. Another thing is just make sure enhancements are turned off. They've got a sneaky way of just turning these enhancements on. So turn them all off. I would recommend anyway. And then other active enhancements, they're sneaky with turning these on. Go to done. And now you have an ad here. Okay. Now it says here sign up and form. So just check your primary text and check where you're putting your copy. So what I'll do is here, I'm going to tell it that this is me on stage, just so that I know and I can tell when I look at it at a glance. So this is me on stage. Coming down. Primary text, so this is where your main copy is. Are you avatar that needs X, Y, Z, for example, right? And you'll see it start to populate. And then you have the headline. Grab this Oh, I like to use learn more. You'll see learn more changing there on the ad itself. So yeah, learn more. Grab this amazing offer. Usually you just put the avatar in the offer here if you can, and you'll see it display here. And then it's going to show you previews of all the different places it's going to be. So it will show you here Facebook feed, Instagram feed. And if you feel that any of them are off, just go in and edit it. And what it's doing here, you can see it's putting on variations, right? So become your avatar today, blah, blah, blah. If you don't like any of these, just uncheck them. I'd recommend you maybe have 2 live to use. Description you don't have to really worry about. You can just repeat the offer there if you want. And then you're not really tracking for anything, but you can set up your CRM with this, like go high level or whatever, so it feeds it in. And that's pretty much it. You've got an ad here, like ready to go. And all you would do is click this and go to quickly duplicate and have another ad. And all of a sudden you've got a campaign, an ad set, and a couple of different ads inside that. And I'll show you an example if you wanted to upload a video, for example. So you'd go here and you're going to go video. And now this is just copied it exactly, so you just rename it. And you'll come down and obviously there's an image here. So you can edit media, turn it into video. You're going to delete it. And then add video. And any of your videos. If you wanted to go to like Instagram and find one of your videos, you would. But you can come in here. And again, just make sure these things aren't turned on, because it can just do weird stuff with your videos. Go to done. And now we have it. Now the thing is with videos, you're more likely to have things that don't fit. So for example, if I go to Facebook feed, you can see the title isn't in. So I'll go to edit placement. And I'll notice that Facebook's a different size. So if I'm advertising there, I want to make sure I change that. So I can go to change. And all I would do is just go to Canva or my video editor and just make sure it's a different size for Facebook. Typically square or 4x5 in this case. And just make it fit. It's a little bit more work, but you don't want an ad that runs like this. It doesn't look great. And then just come down and make sure it's formatted properly in every other area. So this looks good. Yep, looks all good. And then so when we come back to the actual campaign here, you can see if I just click on it, it'll show me some stats. No, it won't show me stats yet, obviously. This is where I can change the name. So I can just be like, January ad, for example. And then I click on it. And then what I can see is if I just hover over the images and the video, maybe because it's not live, that'll be why. Yep, it's because it's not live. So if I go to edit, and I can sort of see what it looks like. And again, one of the most important factors here is just have a check over an advanced preview what it all looks like. So Facebook feed, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, and just make sure it's all optimized for these specific channels. Okay. Perfect. Now, by the way, the reason that you're seeing different things, it's still loading. It's still loading. Sometimes it can take a long time. You can just hit enter. It auto saves it anyway, so you're not going to lose your campaign. And then all I would do here is if I'm happy with this, is just go to publish, and I'll just publish that exact ad. And that's it, really. Targeting. So I kind of briefly touched on it with like the different segments when I mentioned Andromeda, that type of thing. But if we look at targeting here, acting as a filter, not a lever. So you can't force results through targeting alone. You have these 3 different targeting types, okay? You have cold audiences. I've done a full video on top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel on the YouTube channel. You can have a look at it. But audience types, cold audiences, this is brand new people who don't know who you are. Warm audiences are people who have interacted with you at some point. And lookalike audiences are people similar to existing data that you've got. So for example, you have a list of 200 clients that have signed up over the last 2 years. You can export that list and give it into Meta, and they will build a lookalike audience based on those people, their behaviors, their names, their emails, and they'll go and try and find people like them. Broad targeting often works well because it gives Meta more room to optimize. So this is where things have changed. Meta now, Advantage Plus broad, Meta now thinks it backs itself that it will find your ideal client better than any of this will, any of your lists that you think will. So a couple of years back, you used to just type in like, let's say you were wanting fitness clients, female fitness clients, you would type in Fabletics, you would type in all the stuff that it gives you. Honestly, it doesn't give you all the ones you would think, like Gymshark and stuff. It might have that now. But you would think, okay, I want females in Glasgow between the age of 25 to 45. I want them to be interested in Gymshark, Define, Lululemon, all these types of things. Go and show the ads to them. And it worked. It worked for a good while. And then that's when audiences start getting complicated. But now, the broad targeting, Meta seems to think that it can find these people better than any sort of filtering can. Okay, and Meta wants a chance to give it a chance to find these people. It seems to think it can with its AI and its new algorithm and stuff. So, in my experience so far, is that they're right. So, if you overly tight targeting usually restricts performance. Like if you've got it overly tight. Another example of this, if we've had like coaches, consultants and stuff who are like, I want this type of avatar. And then they go in and they build this really, really tight audience on Meta. And before you know it, like there's hardly any people to advertise to. And the frequency's high, people keep seeing the ads and cost just starts going through the roof. Now, I know we have an ideal type of avatar, but you've got to remember, Meta doesn't have all the information, every piece of information for everybody. So if you think about it, right, like some people don't even have the proper town that they live in Meta. They don't have things up to date with it. It's a really old account. They don't even post on it anymore. So it doesn't really understand fully these people. Now, as I'm going to go and talk about creative content and how your ads actually do a lot of this for you. The ad now is the thing that targets people. You think of the way the social media algorithms work now. Quite literally, the AI just scans what's on the page and then puts it on the For You page. So, for example, I remember being at the Villa last year. I was looking to make fresh dough for sourdough for pizza, a pizza oven that I bought. And I watched a few pizza videos. Before you know it, my discovery page was just full of pizza. Now, it hasn't labelled me as interested in pizza, but what it has done is followed me around and saw that he likes pizza stuff. And the algorithm sees pizza on the screen, and therefore it shows you. Same if I watch loads of football stuff, it's going to keep showing me football. Now, think about that. And that's the AI algorithm of these platforms. They do the same ads. So if I call out my target market in the ad itself, it's going to be far more powerful than some sort of like secret setting you're going to find on Meta. Okay. And we found businesses that all we've done is just fix their targeting. And before you know it, their businesses grew because they've just been a lot less strict on the targeting. So let's talk about practical targeting guidelines then. Avoid stacking large numbers of interests, avoid heavy exclusions, and allow audiences to be large enough to learn. It used to be fine to stack all these interests, and I'm going to show you a retargeting version you can do, but just avoid heavy exclusions and allow audience to be large enough, right? I'll very quickly explain this to you and how this works in the overall strategy. If you run ads really, really stringent and tight and to targeting, and then you send it to a funnel and there's loads of questions and it's quite tricky to fill out, and then you have a big video they have to watch, and then it's a big commitment like book a call. Think about that there. You've got, first of all, you get a really small pond to fish from, and then you're really saying you've got something on a fish hook where you're like, it's an acquired taste, and then you're hoping for all these sales. It doesn't really work like that. We need a big net that we cast out, and then we can get more strict, okay? At least that's my experience. And nowadays, creative does most of the work, and I'm going to show you what that looks like and how to stack these kind of audiences in this video. So the audience part, like there isn't some new sections about it, but just to keep it really, really simple, you can see here, if you go to the left-hand tab, you've got audiences. So if you click on audiences, and this is more for intermediate, you can see they've made some changes here. You're going to see this a lot, by the way, just all these things popping up that scares you. But you've got create audience. Now, you can create a custom audience or you can create a lookalike audience. So let's cover custom audience. So this is where you can start to get a little bit clever, and you can be like, okay, if you go to your website, it's like create an audience based on visitors from your meta pixel. So if you've got a meta pixel that lives on your website, You can tailor campaigns based on those people. So you could be like, oh, hey, I know you checked this out before, more middle of funnel stuff because they know you, they aren't really cold. Then you have customer lists. So this is where you pull your list of clients and, you look for lookalikes, or you can just target those people as well. Chances are you've probably not got a big enough audience to run a campaign like this, but some businesses do. And then offline activity. But for a lot of people, like, you're looking at videos. Videos is quite useful because you can create an audience of people who watched your videos all the way through. Like, that's a pretty warm list. But I think for the majority of people watching this, we can be a lot more clever with it, right? First of all, we have Instagram account. So let's click on that. So we can have people who've started following this, like my Instagram account. We can look at people who have engaged with this professional account. So people who have visited it, took an action on the post or ad, such as a like, a comment, save. We've got people who have visited the profile accounts, they visited the professional account. We've got people who engaged with any post or ad. We've got people who sent a message. So in theory, these are all great, but you've got to remember, like, you get all these daft video editors and all that sort of stuff trying to message you and get you to sign up and whatever else. So it won't be like 1,000,000% accurate, but I think it's a good place to start to stack these interests. So like, if people who have engaged with this professional account, that's a pretty strong one. So I can click on this, and you maybe don't want to do 365 days, but you can do 180 days. So people who have engaged with my account in the last 6 months, it's pretty good going. I think we could target those people. And then we can look at just naming it. So it can just be like IG engagers, 180 days, for example. And then you just create that audience. So what will happen is once you create that audience, it's going to sit there. And then you can create another one. So you can be like, do you know what? I'm going to target people who followed me as well. We do that, just change the name. And then we can do people who visited the profile as well. And what we can do here is just audience stack, so that when we come over to the campaign level, we can just add these people in. Now, I'll not do that right now. I'll do it in a sec, but I want to show you custom lookalike audiences. So what you can do here is do lookalike audiences. You can go to other sources, these types of things. Create a new custom source. So like if I go in here, what I can do is I can upload all of my data into this list. So let's say, for example, I have 5,000 people on my email list. I can export that from my CRM, put it into a CSV file, and upload it into Facebook here. So if I prepare the list, I go to next, and I can add the list in here. So I can use their template, or I can just upload my whole email list. Now this is powerful, and it's worked wonders for some of our clients because they've got big lists. If you don't, I'd maybe skip this part. But if you have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people in your email, we can send them a really targeted campaign and capture them from all angles pretty much. Okay. So if I go back over here, go into there, I want to show you me building it. Where am I? Campaigns. I want to show you me like building a stacked list. So I'm actually just going to go into my profile here. And I'm going to create a campaign, and it's going to be for leads. And what I'm going to do, never mind this part, I'm actually going to target a whole bunch of re-engagers. So effectively, this is going to be a retargeting campaign, right? I'm going to target people who know me and they're warm enough because they've been in my world. And I'm actually just going to send them to a website to book a call because they're pretty warm. So coming down here, this is where you can see the audiences. Now, this is where they kind of make it tricky for you because they're trying to get you to use Advantage Plus. So you can see here, Advantage Plus is on. And then you can see show more controls. And we have placements. Now, what used to happen, right, is, it's crazy. They used to have a section where you could just do your own audience. Now they've called it this, right? They've called it further the limit the reach of your ads, right? It's a bit like, imagine a personal trainer has a client and there's a cancel the subscription button. And instead of saying cancel, it says, if you're not serious about your health, click here. That's what it's like, right? They're crazy. So let's go back into that. That's the levels they go to with this, right? But let's say, we wanted to do a retargeting. You can see here, use save audiences. which is ones you've saved in the past. All of these list here, right? But let's go to the further limited reach ads. Limit your audience may reduce performance. Instead, consider staying in your current setup or applying value rules. That's what it's trying to do to you here, right? So I have to select further the reach. You've switched to audience setup. You can limit ads to certain audiences. So now we can do what we want here, right? And it's not going to try and figure it out itself. And it can say, oh, switch back to the recommended setup. So we have custom audiences. We have existing audiences. And if you remember, the audience that I set up was the IG engagers. I don't think I actually clicked on it, but I've got ones here. So I would click on that, right? And let's say I've got, I've also done some more IG. I've done visitors, right? What else have I done? I've done people who have been on my VSL page. So you can see here now I've stacked a nice warm audience of people who know me because they've been on my stuff. Now, what I can do with this campaign here is send them a really direct offer because they've been, they've been on my page. I could actually be very clever and just be like, I saw you've been checking this out, book a call here now type thing, okay? So I don't have to do that, but like you can see here how like the power of just retargeting people who are in a warm audience and know me. Now, it sounds very ideal, by the way, so don't get too carried away. Like it's not like your list will burn through very quickly. Like obviously there's a lot of people who have engaged with my stuff in the last 180 days, but how many of them are people who know me, clients and stuff? So it sounds great, but you really have to be having a lot of traffic through to really, and it will expire. Now, it's still a good idea, but you just got to be careful of how quick it runs out. You can see here as well, right? Use a suggestion. We'll also reach similar audiences when it's likely to improve. Now, this can be useful, but what they're trying to do here is take back control again. They're trying to take control. And if I just want people... Now, I'll tell you a very, very kind of small example of this, right? If I wanted to target people who have landed on my book a call page, who have opted in for my VSL and landed on my book a call page, that's pretty strong. Now, there's another campaign that really big advertisers use where if you book a call, if someone lands on your book a call and they book a call, so let's say they land on your thank you page, you can target them before the call. So let's say you've got a lot of volume, sales volume. You can target all of them before the call. Imagine them seeing like 6 or 7 ads from you, like handling objections. Think about that, like really, really powerful. But for a lot of advertisers, it's very new. So it maybe not be something that you need to focus on too much just now. But it's definitely something to think about as you start to build it up. Okay, we're on to day 4, creative, copy and compliance. Well done for getting this far. So why do ads underperform? Okay, so have a little look here. We have the role of the creative. Meta effectively prices attention. Ads that people stop for are cheaper to run, clearly. Ads that people scroll past become expensive. Targeting cannot fix unengaging creative, right? Now, the creative formats that we have here are static images. We have video and B-roll. We have iPhone style content, and we have professional content. You have a few more different things that you can use, but the same message can be delivered through multiple formats. So just some advertisers that I speak to, and coaches, consultants, whatever, they're good on video, so they just run video ads, and that's cool. And they hate like statics because they don't have a graphic designer or whatever. And it's like, well, like straight away, right? What I've just identified here is 4 different ads. And by the way, all you have to do is push the same message. I have to complete this. These squares here don't make me feel good. So look, static image ads. Let me go over it here. We have static images, which is just a picture. Fancy word for saying a picture that doesn't move. Not a video, a picture. So this is clear, fast, and to understand, effective when the message is simple. Video and B-roll. So B-roll is just like the clips that you have within a video. So a B-roll could really just be me typing on the computer while the camera's filming me. That's a kind of B-roll shot. It's anything where you're not talking directly to the camera. Video is like where you're talking to the camera. You're like, hey, my name's Chris and this is what we're doing. Here's my offer. And then iPhone style content is just kind of amateur style point of view. You whip your phone out, you're telling them the offer. It feels native to the platform, right? It feels natural. If I do a really well polished video, professional to the camera, you'll probably tell it's an ad. If I don't do it right, you'll see this is an ad I'm getting sold to, right? And it swings and roundabouts here. Like, I remember a few years back, professional content was the best. And then it became like, oh, amateur iPhone style stuff's the best. Honestly, I think it depends on your business. Like B2B, for me, professional's better. iPhone style still does work. I think for at least gyms that I've helped and fitness businesses that I've helped, iPhone style does the best because it's just laid back, easy. You think of why you have to think about why the customer is on the platform. Like, business owners are on the platform to learn, to look for opportunities. So that kind of works, but it swings and roundabouts. Honestly, it's about testing it and see what's working now, and then you pivot. And then professional content, like I say, is like really kind of sitting there, authority with the mic, staged in a production studio, whatever it might be. Okay. So the role of the creative is this: Meta effectively prices attention. Ads that people stop for are cheaper to run. Ads that people scroll past become expensive. Targeting cannot fix unengaging creative. If you're boring in your videos and if they don't look engaging, you can target all day long. It's not going to go to these people because it's not getting clicked. So let me show you what these creatives sort of look like. So you have it here. Static images, clear, fast to understand, effective when the message is simple. Video and B-roll, movement draws attention. Loops often outperform longer stories. You've found this with short form content these days. It's just everywhere. People love it. So again, it's like the way people consume content, a lot of people anyway. iPhone, like I said, feels natural and familiar, often builds trust. Professional content, useful for authority and proof, usually works best once attention is earned. The same message can be delivered through multiple formats. So I'm going to very quickly show you this of my ad structure. I'll also cover this at the Andromeda section. But you can see here, we have three main angles for our ads here. We have the activity without money, we have I've tried ads before, and we have a plateaued and burnt out. Okay, so you can see these are static images with the text on it. These are just images. Next, you can see tweet style, and then you can see B-roll style videos, authentic to the Instagram app because I've used like the text that comes with it. And I've got three different versions of these, which I'll cover in the Andromeda section. And then I have just, this one's not been edited, neither has that, but I wanted to pull it for you. This is just me sitting there, professional setup. This will look very, very professional, trust me. It's just a screenshot of a video. And this is the iPhone style where I'm just kind of talking to the camera. Okay, so that's the different formats that you can see, that you can run. And people are different. Some people, let me just try and draw this. It's not stretched out. I'm not going to change it. It's all good. So yeah, like some people might like just this style of stuff. Some people might prefer static. Some people might prefer that. Either way, I'm giving Meta its chance to find the people who like what they like. And either way, we're going to win. Okay. So that's the creative formats. Moving on from the other part of creative, which is the copy. So this is writing copy in 2026. Effective copy is clear, direct, human, and calm in tone. Now, like, there has been times where, just make sure I didn't hit mute there. There's times where I've found that long copy works really, really well. And then it doesn't. It's short form, clear, short. It depends on the business, it depends on the way you want to come across, and it depends on the time, what's working at that given moment. So there's not real one answer here, right? At the end of the day, it just has to be effective. What you want to avoid is guarantees, absolute claims, and then personal attribute references. So of course you don't want to say anything about specific people and break down their personal attributes. You want to suggest outcomes rather than promising them. So then we move on to compliance. So Meta prioritizes user safety and platform trust. Ads that follow policy tend to last longer, scale more smoothly, and avoid account issues. Simple. Okay, moving on to day 5, advanced execution. So we have the Andromeda system that everybody talks about. I'm going to break it down. But before we do that, I want to talk about like why scaling often breaks campaigns. Now, we're going to cover a little bit more about the scaling element. I could probably do a whole video on scaling alone because there's a lot of nuances to it. But before we get into Andromeda, I want to like get you to this point so I can timestamp this as well. But the common causes of why scaling often breaks campaigns: launching multiple campaigns for small changes, right? Constant structural edits. If you keep structurally editing your post, your campaign. If you're relying on audiences instead of creative. And if you're chasing short-term fluctuations, scaling requires stability. So I just wanted to put this in here before we go into the big shiny Andromeda stuff, because I'm about to show you stuff that might overwhelm you a little bit. It might feel like a lot of things. But the Andromeda, really simply put, and I'll go into this because it's a big part of this whole course. It's one campaign with 3 messaging angles with multiple creatives per angle, right? Problem number 1, inefficiency. Desired outcome could be the angle, and exploration of proof of how it works, right? So the reason I'm putting this here with scaling it is because when you think of like having one ad, one campaign, and then like 3 different ads, and that is it, then you're going to have short-term fluctuations. You're going to rely on one audience, which is going to burn out straight away, and you're going to have to constantly change things, which is most advertisers, right? So let's talk about the Andromeda structure. This is a way of organizing campaigns once the basics are in place, right? It uses one campaign, 3 messaging angles, multiple creatives per angle. The 3 angles are a problem, a desired outcome, and an explanation. Now, you could have 3 problems here. You could have 3 desired outcomes. Essentially, we just want 3 different angles that we can go on and see what wins. We're going to put them against each other, right? So each angle contains different creative formats, but the message stays consistent. So here's why this structure works. Learning is concentrated. Creatives compete fairly. Meta can identify winners more easily. And there's fewer emotional decisions that are required, which is ultimately what we want. We want learning to be concentrated, therefore quicker. We want creatives to compete against each other to see what wins fairly. And we want meta to identify winners easily, of course. You can define the structure, meta determines the delivery of it. So let's see a breakdown on my exact structure for this. So you can see it like I just mentioned. You have here angle 1, which is activity without money. Angle 2 is that you've tried ads before. Angle 3 is that you're plateaued and burnt out. And then we've got, these are all statics. These are tweets, image-based text, and these are B-roll. And then we have these as well. So we have around 21 ads just launched, all under this different format. So like I said before, you might have someone who, if you think of this angle here, this is angle 1, angle 2, angle 2, angle 3, angle 3. So you can see the level of detail into it. You might find, let's not stretch that, let's do this. You might find that this angle is working the best on this type of format. And you might find that this is winning as well. And so that what that tells us there is that angle 1 is the undisputed winner, because it is shown over 2 different posts and creatives. Like even as a static and even as a tweet, it is winning. So what you then have to do is, like, what I'm looking for basically here is I'm looking for someone to lose. I'm looking for 2 losers, maybe even 1, and I can put the other 2 against each other. But honestly, if this wins, no matter if it's a static, a tweet, a reel, a B-roll, it doesn't matter. I'm just looking for the best angle that my audience is resonating with. And essentially, it's the angle that the people are spending more money on. And I'll show you what that structure looks like in Ads Manager as well. So here you have it. You have the main campaign. You have this level, the ad set level, and then you have all of the ads that you can see here. Can you see they're all inside? And what I can do here is, if I go back, I can come in and I can see this is only recently just launched. Already we can see there's a clear winner so far. The £65 has been spent on there. So if I go to the top, we're starting to see that angle 3 and angle 2 are taking off. And angle 1's not getting a look in right now. Angle 1's there as a tweet. So see if I figure out, right, that angle 3 is the clear winner. What I can do is angle 3, if I know it's winning, I'm just gonna make more video versions, B-roll versions of it. And if the tweet is second, I'm gonna put more spend behind angle 3 with the tweet. Does that make sense? So you can start to see here it's already taken off. Let's have a look at the click-through rate as well, which I'll explain, shortly for you. But I'll go back to custom here. And if we go to click-through rate, you can see here this one's getting a lot of reach, but it's not getting a lot more. It's only had 4 clicks, but it's got a high click-through rate here. And you can see this one's not had many angle 2 version of this, but it's not had much spend either. So we're just looking to see as the CPMs rise and the clicks happen, which is winning. What I love about these tweet ones, you can see how many clicks they've had already. And as I'll explain towards the end of this, we need to look at all of the metrics tied into one. Okay, so that's the structure laid out. In fact, I'm actually show you what it looks like inside. So we have here leads, we have campaign budget, we have £150 per day. Moving down to the ad set level, we had broad and advantage plus. And I've edited placements here. I don't want to be on the audience network or anything. And now we have just the ad itself here. So you can see going through it, we have the link to the funnel. Here's the creative coming down, and this is the copy for the ad itself. And yeah, it's all through here as well. So moving on to day 6, optimization and decision making. So looking at managing ads over time. So we've got the ads running, everything's great. I followed the process. Now I want to look at how I can read the performance of these ads. So metrics provide signals. CPM reflects demand and competition. Click-through rate reflects relevance and interest. And CPA, cost per acquisition, reflects overall efficiency. You want to look for patterns rather than reacting to single days. Okay, so a very quick basic example of this is like, let's say you make a sale on day 1 of your ads up live. You're spending £20 a day, and the ad, your cost per sale, like let's say how much you charge. Let's say you charge £200, and you get that on the front end, and then it's like they set to sign up for 6 months or whatever. So just counting the front end, £200, and your ads are £20 a day. You've now just gotten your ad spend for 10 days covered for you. But what often happens is that, and by the way, that's me not including the lifetime value of that client, because they're going to give you another £200 next month. But what a lot of people do is they get to day 6 and they don't get a second sale, and it's day 6. They're like, oh my God, I've not had a sale in 5 days. Started off very well. We had 1 sale. And it's like, yeah, but you're covered for 10 days. You're not spending your money right now. And this isn't me trying to convince you. This is just the way the game works. Like, what ads isn't is you put £1 in and get £4 back every single week and every year. Otherwise, we'd all be multi-millionaires, wouldn't we? But it's about understanding and zooming out and looking at the overall. And this data is the signals that you need to be like, actually, am I getting a lot of clicks on these ads? But do you know what it is? It's the landing page. I need to optimize the landing page. I need to fix that, because people are going through to it. They just aren't booking a call or clicking on the thing that I want them to click on, right? So you want to look for patterns. So when do you adjust campaigns? You want to pause ads when there is no engagement or clear rejection, of course. When there's no engagement, pause the ads. You want to scale ads when results are consistent. And I mean, even if it's breaking even, like if you've, like for example, let's say in that one there, like the example I gave there, if you get to day 10, you've spent £200 and you've made £200 and that's it. Like, you still have to move forward and put the foot down. And there's going to be points in time where your creative's fatigued, your ad spend, return on ad spend was 4x, now it's 3x, and it's starting to dip. It's not the time to turn the campaign off. It's the time to realise how much return you've got and then change things, freshen them up, okay? Another way to adjust campaigns is wait when the data is incomplete or performance is still settling. So you don't adjust campaigns when you're waiting on more data. And you certainly don't adjust campaigns if you don't even know what the data is, okay? So here's the common mistakes. Creating a new campaign for every single idea. Running one ad per ad set is just useless to most degrees, unless you've got a lot of budget and you're testing little snippets and you're able to move fast and quick and dynamic. Changing settings daily is just useless. Focusing too much on audiences. Do you know what changing settings daily is? It's like you know, going to the gym, eating healthy one night, and in the morning stepping on the scale, grabbing your fat and wondering why you've not lost weight. It's like pointless. It's like you do it as compounding. Focusing too much on audiences and looking for shortcuts. That's the common mistakes, right? So now for a final perspective before I tell you some of what the code words mean, how the abbreviations. Running ads well is really exciting. It involves a clear structure, consistent creative, patience, fewer decisions made deliberately. If you understand how Meta thinks and give it the right inputs, ads becomes much easier to manage. So that's the big idea. That's the theory here. Hopefully this is the most simplest version of explanation you've heard of ads, because on YouTube, they use all these things and words and they forget that you're a human being that actually just runs your business as well. So metrics, CPM, what does that mean? It's the cost to show your ad to people. It tells you how expensive attention is. So you can see here, if I go back, you will find CPM. There. That's the CPM. This is your average cost for 1,000 impressions. By the way, if you don't see some of this stuff, just go to custom and put the exact data that you want to have on it, and that'll be you. You can always track it from there. If CPM is high, Meta thinks your ad isn't very engaging or competition is high. If CPM is lower, Meta is more comfortable showing your ad. So if we look here at the highest CPM that I've got, we have this one here. Now, obviously I'm in the B2B space and £80 CPM is probably not ideal. We should be more down at the 30-40 range, but this has just went gone. It's only had 13 impressions. I've only spent £1 on it so far, so don't judge it yet. Judge it when it's got good spend. It's the same for any metric, really. CTR, so this is click-through rate. So this tells you whether the ad itself is doing its job. If people aren't clicking on it, the message or the format isn't landing. A higher click-through rate usually means the ad is relevant and stops the scroll. So if you look here at this click-through rate for this particular ad that I've got, it's just started, so it's got quite a high click-through rate right now. That will flatten out. Like having this click-through rate at the start is okay, but once I spend more money, I'm probably going to go down to 1%. Some of these might do well because they are very engaging, but don't know. But you're aiming for 1 to 2% depending on B2C or B2B. Quite honestly, if I'm 1% B2B, I'm happy. So that's click-through rate. CPA, cost per acquisition. This is the cost to get the result you actually care about. So this is the cost to acquire a client. Like when all is said and done and how much you spend on Meta, how much is it costing you to acquire a client? How much? So this reflects the full system working together. The ad, the audience, and what happens after the click. A high CPA doesn't automatically mean the ad is bad, but it does mean something in the system needs attention. Now, I'm going to tell you something with this and the next two that you need to understand. Cost per booked call is cost per booked call. This tells you how efficient your ads are at getting people to raise their hand and speak to you. A cost per booked call, if a cost per booked call is high, the issue is usually the offer, the message, or the follow-up, not the ad itself, right? If you notice it's high, then it's probably the ad itself and the offer, the first few seconds, the VSL, whatever it might be. Now, another one that not a lot of people talk about is the actual cost per qualified book call. So let's say you get 10 calls booked that week, but you actually ask your VA or you look at yourself and go, 2 of them weren't even qualified. So it's actually 8 you got, but you're still spent for these people. So what you want to do is change it to be like cost per qualified book call. And then you start to see the real data. And this is a layer deeper. It tells you whether the ads are attracting the right people, not just more people. If cost per book call looks fine, but cost per qualified book call is high, your ads are getting attention for the wrong audience or your message is too broad. So this just happened with a client there. We had to add more qualifiers in his cost per book call. His book a call funnel, because it was getting like £18 cost per book calls, which looks great, but most of them weren't qualified, so it doesn't matter. Like, they're all unqualified. So the important thing is this: you never look at these numbers in isolation. You look at how they move together over time.